Hello everyone, on this Life in Bama, I'm going to tell you a slice of life story. And this story is about my mom, and it's based on this scrapbook. This is one of our many scrapbooks. Now my mom, like so many others, went to Dora High School. She went to Summerton Elementary School and Middle School, but she graduated from Dora. If you watched my videos previously, you'll know that the towns of Summerton and Dora are literally right across the road from each other. To tell you a few more things about her so you'll understand this story, she grew up during the Depression, and her father died in 1939, right before she graduated high school. So it was mandatory after she got out of high school for her to get a job. I think she liked to do scrapbooks so much because she was a historian in her high school class. And so from what I understand, she began working in the post office in Summerton. So this scrapbook pretty much begins after that point, and we'll open it up and see the first entry. The first entry is a letter that is dated May 16, 1944, and it's addressed to her. And the wording is, "I will be ready for you to come to work the first day of June. The first opportunity I have between now and that date, I will see you and we'll talk the matter over. If you like, you may give your current employer notice that your service will terminate on that date," and it's from the postmaster at Dora. Now the next page is a page from a ledger, and it shows different costs. It shows what she made, how much she wrote her own checks for, and then she would have done this. I recognize her writing is doing all this information on this ledger page. And you'll see a little decoration up here, the U.S. mail, and then here's a picture of her in front of the Dora post office. As we turn the page, the next page, there are a couple of photographs of friends. The one here on the right, I don't know her. The one on the left is my aunt, and it's so great to have a picture of them, my aunt and my mom, together, because they were great friends. On this next page, there are just photographs of my mom, and then here's co-worker. We turn the page, and there's some more pictures. This young man here, I believe, was a co-worker of hers, and he sent her this postcard that's down there. It says, "Hi, want to bet on anything, huh? Having a nice rest here, and we'll leave here for New Orleans Wednesday. Be good, and don't take any wooden nickels." And it signed his name. It's addressed to my mom. And that was in 1947, I believe. But anyway, here's a picture of him by my mom's car. And then there's a picture, interesting picture of my mom, and she's behind the window of the Summerton post office, so she's inside the post office. She's looking out, and you can see the wording there on the top. And then you can see the photographer standing across from her, and you can see the reflection of the buildings that are across the street in Summerton. There's also a valentine that I don't know who is from, but the front of it says, I'm only a hick who's not so slick, and I don't know from nothing. And what I've got ain't a beep of a lot, but boy, you have got something, so be my valentine. And it's from Guess Who. Also on this page you see an informal picture of her, and then a very well done formal picture of her. And then there's a photograph of her car, which she was very proud of. On the next page there are some more friends, and then this is a co-worker. And then there are pictures along the bottom of what's described here in this little article. It says, "Dora Post Office greets patrons. During the Christmas holidays, the employees of the Dora Post Office decorated the post office windows with a large envelope addressed to the patrons of the post office, and a large Christmas card was beside the envelope with a Christmas scene. Post office windows are seldom, if ever, decorated." So this has my mom written all over it, because she decorated our home all through when I was a child up to the day she passed away. She decorated her home for the holidays. And now on this page is when our story turns a little sad. And I believe this photograph here, it's dated as being January 1956. And this is a street view. The building up there to the back is the freight house in Dora of the Old Depot. The Old Depot's to the side of it here. The Old Depot's not in the shot. But there's the mail carrier truck, and I know this because it's in pictures on the next page. And then you can see the sidewalk going up, and there's just nothing over here on the left. But I believe that this is the postmaster, and I believe that's his wife, if I'm not mistaken. This may be the only picture of his wife that I have. Then we have pictures of my mom here beside my mom and dad's house. And I recognize those 3 McCoy planters in the window. I still have them. And then there are 2 letters on this page, which she's made it where you can open them up like this and look at them. So I'm going to take this one out and read it to you. And it is addressed to my mom and dad. It's dated November 10th, 1954. And then the letter inside is a note from the postmaster's wife. And it says, "Each day I think of you, and from the very depth of my heart I want to say thank you for everything. The gown you gave me is the very prettiest I've ever seen. The box of plants you spent so much time making attractive for me was enjoyed for weeks. The perfume is so very sweet, and I use it sparingly, trying to make it last a long time. The cards which came so regularly expressing their words of love meant more to me than you can ever know. I do want to thank you for the prayers you prayed, which is no doubt had much to do with my recovery." So she's recovering. "I love you both, and I know of no finer people than you are. Truly life has no greater blessing than friends like you. We enjoyed being in your home the other night. Come to see us. Lovingly," and then it signed her name. So here's the second letter on the page. It is dated to my mother, and the stamp on it says, the postmark says October 3rd, 1956, and this is about 2 years later than that first one. It says, "First, let me thank you for all the panties and lovely handkerchiefs while I was in the hospital, and also the pretty cards with their comforting words. When I came home with you from downtown the other day, it didn't dawn on me that there was more you could do or would do. I was almost overcome with joy and gratitude. The house coat is beautiful, and I shall wear it often and think of you. I realize you are responsible for all of those attractive and useful gifts." So I guess she might have been in the hospital for a while. "I have always loved you, and as the years have passed working with you, I have realized what a fine young woman you are. I have been more closely associated with you than any other person except my husband. I have confided in you because you are so true and noble. I'm going to miss you each day and shall cherish your love and your friendship all the days of my life." And it's signed the postmaster's wife. And then you can see here the newspaper articles of when she passed. And this article is dated Tuesday, May 28th, 1957, so it was around that time. And then it says that she passed in her home, died in her home after a long illness. And then this one says that she was a native of Dora, and she died at her residence after an extended illness. She was a member of the First Methodist Church of Dora, where she served as organist and soloist for many years. She was a member of the WFCS Eastern Star, the Ann Hutchinson Study Club, and other civic organizations, so I'm sure she was very, very missed. I know my mom missed her. So as we turn the page, we have some more pictures here, and like I say, I recognize this truck as being the postal carrier's truck. And this fella here is going to retire. He is Dora Postman, hangs up his pouch. This article was from the Birmingham News, and it doesn't have a date on it, and the photographs don't have a date on it either. Let's see what this says right here. October 1st, 1957. So there you go. So those are pictures of him getting in his truck for the last time, and I believe this is him with the postmaster, and then you can see here how it looked behind the post office boxes in the post office. Now we go to this page, and on it we have a nice Christmas card. Really nice. It's kind of a silk thing on there. And then sincere good wishes for the holiday season in the coming year, and it's from the postmaster because his wife has passed. Then we have photographs of a group of women, and this may be a club or someone that's met. And here's my mom's picture in, and then I see a few other faces that I know in it. Now we have this letter here, and it's a communication. It is from the postmaster, and it is to the district operations manager of the post office department. And it says, "Dear Sir, I regret having to leave my work at this time of the year, but the time has come that I must see my doctor at once. I have my office personnel arranged to handle the work while I am away. I have instructed my clerk, which is my mom, to call your office should anything unusual happen. Sincerely yours, Postmaster." So we have that there. Then on the next page, here is a photograph of my mom and a co-worker, and they are there, and I believe the post office would be right there in that row of buildings right behind them. And then these other pictures are dated February 1961, but that's when they were probably processed. It looks like Christmas photographs. And so this is, I know in this photograph there is, my mom's in the middle of the one where she's serving, but the other folks are people that work in the post office, and then here's a picture of the postmaster with his second wife, which became friends with my mother. And then on this next page, unfortunately, we have the newspaper posting. January, this was posted in 1962, but I believe he passed in November of 1961. And it says, Dora postmaster, 25 years, dies. It is with heavy heart that we report the death of him. Dora Post Office. Apparently, he was 61 years old, and he took his own life with a pistol shot early in the morning of November 9th, although I believe it was the 8th. We understand he had been worried about his health for several years, which he could have been because he had that letter from 1957. And he had been postmaster at Dora for about 25 years. He is survived by his widow and one son. So there's that. Here is a grateful acknowledgement card from his family. And then this letter here, and this is what's interesting about this letter. This letter is to the clerk in charge, who would be my mom, and it is dated November 8th, 1961. That is just a few days before I was born. And this would have been the old post office in Old Dora. And it says, "It is with deep regret that we have learned of the death of your postmaster. An effort will be made to appoint an acting postmaster at the earliest possible date to conduct the office pending the appointment of a regular postmaster. Also, every effort will be made for your maternity leave to begin as scheduled. There are enclosed forms for transmittal to the next of kin of your postmaster, which should be executed and returned to this office with 2 copies of the death certificate." So she had to get all that together. And then it's signed from the person. So she was having to deal with all of that, can you imagine, right before I was born. So as we turn the page, we see pictures, we see a receipt for a uniform, and then we see photographs of her in the old post office with her co-worker. Then it talks about, on this page, how the post office contract award may be ready November 18th, and it's about the construction of the new post office in Dora. So we know a new post office is being built. Now, I had always known that I sent the first letter from the Dora post office in 1963, the new post office that was built. But just like anything else, when you come into something, you don't really know what happened before you. And so, luckily, I have this scrapbook that tells a story about her before I came to be. This is the active postmaster at Dora, and he is giving my mom an award and a check for $100 for her work. So she got acknowledgement for that. So here in the back, there are just many photographs that I have that she didn't complete the book, and that's where it's left. Here's this postcard from the famous Taft Hotel in New York City. It's to my mom, and it says, "The best to my dad. I know the pictures and this card will bring back fond memories to you. We ate here yesterday because my mom went to New York, but that's another story. Wish you could have been here with us, and it's signed from the postmaster's wife. So that is the story behind this scrapbook. If you enjoy watching my videos, please subscribe to my channel. And after you subscribe, please remember to click that bell so you'll receive notifications when I upload new content. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.